But I thought we'd start off with a development update with Planning Director Mike Glidden. So, Mike, it's all yours.
Thanks, Tom. Okay, I will. Okay. All right. Does everyone see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So, oh yeah, of course, Ron, you said you could see it, right?
I can see it, yes.
Okay.
Well, I shouldn't be, I'm driving.
Don't worry, we'll leave that out of the minutes. So here's I'm gonna do a June update now. We'll just start off. We'll start off the south end of town and work our way to the north. The first one is at 34 Hot Meadow Street. We have a self-storage facility that was approved by a site plan by the Zoning Commission about a month and a half ago. And let me get to the plans here and show you what it's going to look like. Here's a view, an overall overview of the facility. They're planning on using the existing driveway that serves the Chubb development, which would be over on the right-hand side of the screen. The development itself, they proposed a berm that'll be about approximately 3 feet tall, that's planted with all types of vegetation, which will kind of provide a visual buffer between the structures, the self-storage facility that you saw in the previous slide, and Hot Meadow Street. Like I said, this came to the commission. It was a pretty straightforward site plan that was approved, met the regulations. And right now, the team is getting ready to start construction as we speak. So it's just this was a project that was not on our radar that showed up at our doorsteps probably late November, December of 2020. The next one, I'm sure everyone heard about it, and so the rumors are true. Tractor Supply is coming to town. That was approved by the Zoning Commission. It's going where, and let me get to the map. This is the color renderings, the architect's renderings of the proposed store. This is the site plan. Basically, this is where the existing bowling alley is located at 1603 Hot Meadow Street. The plan calls for a 19,000 square foot retail store with some outdoor storage that will be screened and fenced in. That's in the lower left-hand corner of the proposed of this map. And up on the right-hand side, you can see an outdoor garden center. And this is one of the ones, this, and Sarah, you can chime in too, because this involved a lot of lift. Sarah and I met with the group. It was about, when was it? Was that December again, Sarah?
I believe, everything is sometime last year. Everything is kind of rushing together.
It's a blur. So they approached us.
What I do here is I usually put them in a skillet, and a little butter, and brown them, and then I put them in the oven. And
sure. Come on, meeting. Thanks.
You know how to do that with.
Okay. So they approached us. There was a few moving parts that came into play here. This development triggered some special exceptions for the reduction of parking spaces. It also required special exceptions for outdoor storage for this outdoor storage area, both the garden center, some seasonal products, and the trailer storage area. But more importantly, it had to go to the Zoning Board of Appeals for a variance for parking setbacks. And meeting with them when they met with us, we were very candid on, you had 2 public hearings you had to go through, and we have to we were willing to work with them, provided there's some landscaping, et cetera, was provided in the submittal. They did a great job of taking some of our comments into consideration, including, during the public hearing with the Zoning Commission, we had a neighbor from Brentonwood that said, that stockade fence that's around the perimeter, some of it needs some TLC, and the group committed to repairing it. So I think this will be a nice addition to the northern corner of Hot Meadow Street, right on the Granby line. It'll be you'll find it's a very interesting retailer that's coming. So if anyone has dogs, chickens, cats, you name it, you just found a way. You found a place that has some really neat price, great competitive prices for food, for dog, pet food, and animal food. I'll just say that. The next one, we were talking about this earlier.
Mike, can you hear me, Mike?
Yes, who's this?
Oh, it's Maria. Sorry to interrupt. For some reason, Mike, some of us are getting some gray stripes at the top and the right of our screen, which is making it hard to see some of the slides. Would you mind maybe try uploading perhaps the presentation again, or maybe we could have Melissa try uploading it?
Yeah, let me try it again.
Sorry to interrupt.
No, that's okay.
Mike, while you're trying to upload, I'll just mention that what we've really found are the pre-development meetings that we've been having with the applicants are incredibly helpful. We're able to very clearly identify the things that are needed before they come to the commissions. We talk through issues, we talk through timing, and we also talk through where they have to go and when. So we've really found that helps with these applications, like when you and I met with Tractor Supply, like when we met with Big Wise development team, that these pre-development meetings have really been instrumental in fast tracking all of these projects.
Yeah, thanks, Sarah, for giving that, because Sarah has actually been my my partner now. How many of these projects have we been doing? So one thing that we learned through the from COVID actually, and the outdoor dining approach was this team effort of doing hands-on meetings with a lot of applicants, developers, business owners, et cetera. We've alleviated a lot of issues that normally could have been a reason for a project being stymied in front of the commission, or just the overall kind of like feeling that they were ping-ponged between areas, people, et cetera. So we've been using this to kind of try to approach everything, as it, like I said, it's Sarah is usually my go-to partner, but we also are including the fire marshal, the building official. I'm sorry, yeah, I don't know why my bar is still there.
Like,
the building official.
Did you mention?
That's better.
Is that better?
That's good.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
good.
I'm sorry.
Did you mention when they would? Do you have a sense when they're going to complete a job like that, Tractor Supply?
So believe it or not, so we originally, Tractor Supply was under negotiation to purchase the bowling alley, and we were slated for later in like 2023, 2024. They're looking to get going on this project this construction season.
Great.
So we went from the back of their list to the front. And they were very appreciative. One of the things, like what Sarah said earlier, meeting with them, answering a lot of questions up front, doing a lot of, I want to call it hand holding, but making sure that they understood and they had a clear understanding of expectations of the process, of the regs, of the commissions. And because of that, this went to this public hearing was 2 meetings, but really it was 2 meetings because we were waiting on some engineering details for the stormwater features as part of the development. So they got those information to us and they were out the door, and they were ecstatic the fact that they were in front of our commissions for only 2 meetings versus their experiences. Matt Darling was talking about experience they were dealing with up in Vermont that was pretty bad, in New Hampshire, and they're like, wow, here we are, we come to Simsbury, Connecticut, and we're in and out the door. And we felt like we were, the town understood our concerns and understood the urgency of, that time is money. If you're going to give us direction, give us concise directions up front so that we can address it and move on. So, that's exciting to have that project coming. The next one that's on the screen, Iron Horse Boulevard. So this is the Simscroft Echo Farms Iron Horse Boulevard lot that is planned for a residential development. It's really exciting. This is another project, Sarah. We've had several meetings with Chris Nelson over at Millwrights to kind of discuss the process, because he also has several commissions that he needs to deal with.
The other thing I'll mention is a special thank you to our town manager, because most people don't realize, but when we were working on the Andes Plaza, Maria, that's kind of when we got Chris interested, and that's when he started taking a serious look at Iron Horse. So the other thing that Mike and I want to mention is, although we've been doing this together for many years, I think, with Maria putting that customer service first and the expediting all of these projects, I think we've just now found a model that really works well. And so, as you know, Chris Nelson and his team are very happy as well.
Yeah, I mean, I know the slide says the application has just been filed with the Conservation Commission. I actually can report to the group that the Conservation Commission approved this application last week. So they're actually looking to file in the next, let's say, 5 to 7 days with the Zoning Commission. And if they make their deadlines and the Hartford Courant runs their legal ads as required, fingers crossed, then we're looking at this application going before the Zoning Commission on July 19th for a public hearing. And this is a big deal. This will be your first major project in the downtown, which is pretty consistent with the goals and the objectives of the charrette. It's primarily a residential development. However, this is one of the only properties in the center that's zoned SC5, which residential development is the only use that's allowed here. The other thing, just to kind of comment, and just really low on this, is that the developer has shown a commitment to also include some affordability in his design. So most likely we're going to see some affordable units with this development. So this is overall, it's a real exciting project. This developer we've worked with in the past, obviously Highcroft, Mill Pond, very great developments that had a real sense of community, not just an apartment development. So this is really nice for the center. Does anyone have any questions on this before I go to the next slide?
Just a comment. I walk by that or drive by that site every day, and just the clearing they've done have improved that site dramatically before the buildings even go up. So, and it's a big project. It's a big space. Very exciting project, I think.
Yeah, the views in the back, where those buildings in the back, when you see the views that overlook the mountain, the Oxbow Cove or Barber Cove, I mean, it's going to be a nice project.
The other really important point to mention for Economic Development Commission is that this project is the only project in downtown. So having housing in downtown there's studies all across the country that show that it boosts the local businesses. They can walk to the Fitzgerald's, they can drop off their dry cleaning, that the people that choose to purchase these downtown spaces and live in downtown spend exponentially much more money in the downtown area. So it will help all of our core businesses, and that's incredibly important. It's very different than some of the projects that have been talked about to the north and south strips.
Hey, Mike, this is Bill. Regarding the affordable aspect, would any more definition on that? Like, would there be income restrictions, or just somebody putting apartments on the market at a lower rent?
So it would be the income restrictions similar to an 830G, limiting to obviously individuals making 80% of the area median income and potentially 60%. So, I mean, the developer is, really taking affordable housing to heart, and he wants to include that as part of his development because, in this sense, you would have an affordable housing development in the center of the town, adjacent to transit, adjacent to, just all the features within the center. I mean, this would be an ideal candidate for such a development.
Yeah. Okay, good. Yeah. I like the fact that the developer is doing it on their own.
Yep.
And that, even before Chris Nelson was involved, I think it was Mike Gerard, right, who came in and pitched this the first time. And the planning commission, made a suggestion to consider some affordable housing concepts. So I'm happy to see that.
Good. Does anyone else have any questions? And maybe we go to Melissa, if you go to the next slide. So we talked about the self-storage to the south, and actually, the application now has been filed as of Monday for self-storage at the old portion of the old well property or old Gemini's property off Terriffill Road. This will have to go to a public hearing process with the zoning commission. They've already secured approval from the Conservation Commission. So it's just another project that is coming that was not on our original radar. This kind of is a newer one that fell on our lap. They did do a preliminary presentation with the zoning commission. It was positively received. And like I said, they've secured their wetlands permit. Now they're moving on to a zoning commission approval. You can go to the next slide.
Oh, hold on a second, Mike. Sorry. I just have a question of the group. And, if you don't have an answer, that's fine. But what are people storing? And why do we need so much storage now compared to 20 years ago? Do people just have more crap?
No, actually,
Yes.
So
Crap.
yeah, so the one of the applicants kind of presented a market study, and the combination of several factors, whether it's empty nesters that want to downsize and, like you just said earlier, just have a lot of crap and need someplace to go. The introduction of the apartments in the market, the need for that flex space that, you're moving to the area, you don't know, what can you put in here? What do you want to keep? What do you want to get rid of? It's a use that actually, according to their market studies, that for decades, it was underserved. Our area.
Obviously, with the amount of self-storage places just in general, where there used to be none, now there are many.
So and the other thing too is some of these are not just serving Simsbury. Some of these are serving, Granby. They're serving Avon. Like the population.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, that's the other thing too. It's not just a Simsbury thing phenomenon. It's the market. It's the region. It's a use that kind of has been underserved for a while.
True, but I will also mention, to answer your question as well. So Mike hit the first two, which are the most important in the two drivers though. So we haven't seen self-storage in the area because we hadn't yet seen the new apartments. And as we were talking on an earlier meeting, Maria and I and a couple others, so, most people think that when we have the apartments in Simsbury that there's tons and tons of families and kids. And really what it is, there's lots of older people that have sold their house because their family is grown up, but they want to live in the community. So they're downsizing to an apartment to get rid of the maintenance and everything, but they're packing away that, those life treasures.
Mm-hmm.
And so a lot of it has to do with the new apartments. You saw the apartments first, and now you're seeing the self-storage. So it goes kind of hand in hand.
Interesting. Thanks.
Okay. Melissa, you want to go? Okay, so Andy's. I'm sure everyone saw the building is starting to be painted. They're going to start working on the facade. And then we also can report Monday night, and this is someone that actually Sarah was working with, that Sarah ran into this one. We have a new restaurant coming to town that'll be filling the vacancy from Dunkin' Donuts. And Sarah, it's Dan Stevens is the chef, but what's the name of the restaurant that he has in Glastonbury?
Sayulita. He was the chef for Sayulita in Glastonbury, which is incredibly busy, and is opening La Jolla Mexican in Simsbury.
So the plan is that it's 20 tables inside with a bar, and then 6 4-top tables that will be outdoors underneath the covered walkway. So I mean, it's here's just this plaza, the facelift from the facade. You have Iron Horse Pub doing their work in the back. You have La Jolla coming. There is another commercial tenant that was been discussions with, small commercial tenant, discussions with the building department, and we have we know that there may be interest of the balance of the space. I mean, this is like really nice to see that we're seeing a property that kind of, Sarah, would you say underperforming for?
Well, so we can share something now that you can see that the facade renovations have begun. And this is, again, thanks to our town manager. We narrowly avoided having a dollar store there. And not that I have anything against a dollar store, but it doesn't belong in the downtown. It can, there are definitely appropriate places, but it drops the grade of the commercial properties in the downtown. It would have dropped them down. And so what we did is we offered and worked with the property owner on a better use, on, they're spending more money, it's going to be refreshed, they're getting in new tenants, but it's just a better fit and a better use. And it started in Maria's office when we kind of narrowly avoided going in a different direction. And they've already started putting up, you can see the white part of the facade. This has been a long lift. This was at what, Maria, like a year and a half ago? But you're starting to see the fruits of something that has been vacant for 6 or 7 years, a good part of it. So this is not only looks nice, but compared to what it was or what it could have been, is really phenomenal.
Yeah, and I'm just excited with all the interest that now is coming to this property, because I mean, Sarah really pointed that out. 6, 7 years ago, you went by this property, you didn't have the same type of interest. Most people are like, nah, I'll go look at another property downtown. Now it's being noticed. There's investment, and it's really nice to see in the downtown. So it's kind of like our little theme of the incremental positive development that we're seeing in town. But also the two of us have been busy.
Please compliment Andy Andreo and his family if you see him, because they're spending a substantial amount of money to renovate this property and have been a fantastic partner with the town, with Maria, with us, and we even had selectmen involved. I mean, it's just been such a big lift from the community.
How does that work? Do they do the facade and the renovations, or do the individual companies come in and do that?
No, the Andreo family is doing the facade upgrade. The only exterior improvements that the tenants are usually taking either as sign replacement, or in the case of Iron Horse Pub, his outdoor seating area, he's doing that work. But
Right.
The rest is entirely the Andreo family.
And they're using, it should mention, they're using a local Simsbury architect company, which is Phase Zero. So again, it's just really great to see all of the local Simsbury businesses that have pitched in to do this project.
Great.
So this is just a little one. I know that he completed the patio, but Soma Grill had a patio expansion that was approved by the zoning commission. Which ironically, this was, putting the number of tables that he had out there was something that we dealt with at a temporary basis with our temporary outdoor dining. And Chris Riley was like, well, I want to make it permanent. So he ripped up some of the sidewalk, replaced some of the foundation plantings, and put in a permanent patio, which was approved by the zoning commission. So just here's another example of the temporary outdoor dining and how it kind of opened our eyes to, well, maybe we can make this a permanent feature. And how do we do it? So, kudos to Chris. He did a nice job. You go to the next slide. Jersey Mike's Peach Wave obviously is gone. The sign is now up, so everyone can see it along with the window signs. They actually called today for final inspections. They're a little behind. We have a little contractor snafu, but that's not common for construction. It's just filling vacancies. Something that it's a theme you'll start to probably get tired of hearing from us. But it's just great to see. If you go to the next slide. I put this in here because this could be some activity. There's a planned improvement to the town hall parking lot, a realignment of the driveway, realignment of the parking area, some ADA and security improvements, stormwater features, landscaping improvements. So it's kind of it's a large project. It'll be very visible. And I thought that this group, I know it's not a new business. It's not something that's jumping edgy, shiny, new, et cetera. But what it does is it goes to my lessons from when I first started in West Hartford. And one thing that the business community looks at is they look at a community that invests in itself. Do you keep up with your facilities? Do you replace the flowers and the planters? Do you do this? When you do a project like this and you improve your parking facilities, you improve the landscaping, you improve the stormwater features, it looks new, it looks like it's being taken care of. It sends the message. It's like, here's a community that invests in itself. It's worth investing in them. So but like I said, I wanted to show it because it's a large project when this starts. If you go to the next slide.
And because people don't realize the town still has to go through the boards and commissions as well. We get that a lot.
Yeah. Oh, yes. That went through. There was an extensive discussion with the zoning commission. There was not rubber stamped, but they ultimately approved it, but they asked a lot of questions.
Well, just for the public that's watching, just to remind them that the town actually has to go through the same approval process. Just because it's the town, they don't skip over things. So are held to the same standards.
Yes, we're not exempt from those rules. So I just want to go over, we had a preliminary discussion with SL Simsbury regarding 200 and 250 Hot Meadow Street. 200 Hot Meadow Street is the former campus for the Hartford Insurance Agency. The 250, that's the ridge at Talcott. If you could go to the next slide. So we'll start with the north site. They presented a concept of converting one of the commercial buildings that was approved into a 15-unit, one-bedroom apartment building. And the lower right-hand corner is the architect's rendering that they provided the commission. The commission was a little critical and reluctant to the concept. However, they gave some very good feedback for the group. This is preliminary, so this is not written in stone. In order for Silverman to implement this change, they have to go through a public hearing process of updating the master plan and rezoning that area of the development. So they still have a lot. They have some lifts that they have to accomplish. But what the commission did was kind of give them some preliminary feedback they consider, so that they don't go through the public hearing process, spend a significant amount of money with architects, engineers, et cetera. It gets back to our approach of trying to meet with them early, to give them direction, to give them feedback, rather than feeling like they're ambushed during a public hearing process. We'll stay tuned on this one. I don't, they had a follow-up conversation with representatives of SL Simsbury this past Monday night. And there's still a lot of reluctance on this by some members of the conversion of the retail to residential. So I don't really, this is preliminary, and it may not happen, but I want to make this group aware that this is on the horizon.
Yeah, I saw that presentation, Mike, and the negative side was they were saying they couldn't get retail to go in there. They couldn't fill those proposed buildings, and that's why they're switching to residential, or want to switch to residential.
Yeah, we'll see, because there's also some comments from some commissioners that were like, well, we're seeing commercial development, as we've kind of said, filling in vacancies throughout the town. So I don't understand. So stay tuned on that one. Yeah. If you go to the next slide, this is entirely conceptual, preliminary, but they presented a concept of the redevelopment of 200 Hot Meadow for a mixed sort of residential development. Mixed in the sense there would be apartments, there would be single family homes for rent, and single family homes for sale. It kind of like a whole gambit of different types of housing. One of the things that was discussed Monday night was that they would like consideration, they being the zoning commission, that the applicant could consideration to adding affordable units should they one day come forward with a master plan for this project. I don't want to go over unit counts because really this is so preliminary at this point. I don't want to tell you, oh, this is 1,200 residential units. This is 100 residential units. I'd rather just say, they presented a concept. The zoning commission gave them some comments. Some members were kind of disappointed. They didn't see a lot of retail or commercial components with this proposal. Others gave the comments that if you're gonna bring in primarily residential development, we'd like to see a little consideration for including affordable housing in this proposal. So that's very preliminary, and I would say stay tuned. You may see the north site before you see the south site, but there's interest with the Silverman Group on coming back with more plans. So we'll see. If you go to the next slide. All right, right before I go over this numbers, I just want to hit one other thing. I'm sorry, I should have added this slide. Monday night, the zoning commission actually approved the text amendments for section 5.3 and 5.5 of the zoning regulations. That was adding some uses to our industrial zones to make it a little more friendly for businesses to look at other options and not just simply looking at professional office as one of the primary uses. So that was approved Monday night. Now, this is our number. I know I'm trying to give this group this picture of where we stand permit-wise. And this number is a little stale because I actually have a new chart that includes up to May. So we're actually, as of May, we're at $280,000 worth of permit fees, which is the highest we have ever taken in permit fees. So we have done this in a fiscal year with a pandemic, and the local interest, and it's not just commercial. Our single family home, our residential market has been surging, and there's a lot of interest in investment in properties. We are really, the building department has just been through the roof with activity. And as you said, as I showed you here, there's just a little snippet of things going on. There are more stuff that's cooking, that's very preliminary, that has not been before my commissions. And I will say there's some very large and interesting things coming that are just more positive signs for the community. So we're not slowing down, and it's really to keep with that positive message I gave at the last development update. I mean, we've had now the best year for permit fees since we started taking really extensive records. And that goes back to, so it's 20 years, 2000, because 2000 was the year that we compared. Our last highest year was 18-19, which that year was so high because we had the solar farm that came under that fiscal year and their permit fees. And that was, Maria, was that like I can't remember how many $100,000 check, remember?
Yeah, it was over 400,000, I believe.
Yeah. So, and then that was 1.2 million that we did that year. And so you take, $400,000 of that fees, just that one project, versus the 1.2 we've done this year. We don't have that solar project going on. We just have a lot of things all over. So I just wanted to give this group, I know that I've said this in the past, COVID really hasn't slowed down our building activity in town. And as you can see from some of these projects, it's really nice. And, we've been busy. So, and I think my next slide that's my last. If you go to the next slide, does anyone have any questions?
Well, thanks, Mike. And thanks to you and Sarah and Maria and anybody else that has made all these great projects go. Take the summer off.
Wait, is that being recorded?
Yeah.
The three of us are going to.
No, that's great work. You should be we're very, very proud of that. That's wonderful work.
Yeah. And our next update, we'll probably have a few other fun things to tell the group. Right, Sarah?
We are, obviously because of your FOIA requirements, we can't mention, but I will say that we're still we're in meetings and we have projects moving forward that we will be able to talk about very shortly, and they're going to be incredibly exciting. So we're still have interest, and we're still working on some very big stuff.
Okay, thanks very much. So I think we have members of the Spirit Council with us, and if they'd like to introduce themselves and tell us something about the good work that they do.
Hello, I'm Shari Chester Anderson. I am a Spirit Council member and also the chair of one of our subcommittees, the Housing Subcommittee. And we also have some other members who may want to introduce themselves as well, but I'll just give you a quick overview of what we do. The Spirit Council was launched in 2019, and we have about 18 members. We also represent the community at large and serve as diversity champions of Simsbury, in hopes that Simsbury will be a more inclusive town. We do have 4 subcommittees that are working in different areas to support the Board of Selectmen resolution that racism is a public health crisis. And so we have four subcommittees: housing, data, events, and outreach. And so we wanted to join you all today because in our housing work, we are seeking to get more information to identify what we're solving for on behalf of the town. And so thank you for having us. This is very informative and very helpful. Would any other members like to introduce themselves?
Please.
Yes, I'm Lloyd Huey. I am with the Outreach Subcommittee, and it's a pleasure to be here to be a part of your meeting and to hear what's going on within the town and efforts that are being made to, as Shari said, to help create a more welcoming and inclusive environment here in Simsbury. And I'm looking forward to learning more about what you do and partnering with you in your efforts to accomplish your goals.
You want else?
I'm Nicole Kodak. I'm one of the vice chairs along with Shari Cook, who I think you might know, of the Spirit Council. And we really find these updates that Mike gives very informative, especially because we're just starting the housing subcommittee work. So it's really great to be plugged into all the things that are happening and just taking in information on, all the aspects of being in an inclusive town. And the affordable housing piece is a big active issue right now. And I was really glad to hear Bill raise the question in the new development about the affordable components in existing development. So it's great. It's great information, and we'd love to stay plugged into what's going on in the development of the town and how we can support the work of the Board of Selectmen in this area. So thanks for having us.
Hi, I'm Carol Clark Flanagan. My husband and I have lived in town for 40 years, raised our 4 girls here, and I am delighted to be a part of this effort. I'm on the events subcommittee and the housing subcommittee. So thank you. Thank you for all this information. It's really great.
And
Thank you. Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, I'm a little under the weather tonight, but I'm Kristen Forbadak. I'm the staff liaison to the Spirit Council. And I've been working with them since their birth, when we had our meeting over 2 years ago now. And it's been a pleasure to be along with them on this journey and to offer them the support that they need to be successful. So thank you for having us tonight.
Well, thank you all for joining us, and hopefully we can get together again later in the year and get an update from you, and we can give you an update on what's happening in the town. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
So let's move on to the work plan updates. Marketing project update. Charmaine, are you on?
Yes, I certainly am. So can you hear me? We met today, Jeff and Sarah and Brooke and
Maria, anyway, we met and we went over all the results of the survey. And Jeff did a fantastic job summarizing everything. And he's going to summarize it more. And I believe present, if he was wanting to present, like, I think it was August 8th.
Nice.
So what we found out, I've got my notes here on the side of my desk. You know, the majority of the people that filled out the forms were 55 plus. And, you know, some of that I think has to do with the fact that even voters are more 55 plus. I mean, people that are 55 plus are more likely to fill out forms and vote and do all kinds of things. But, you know, but we did have a variety of age groups and everything else. So we actually got a great amount of people. But the one thing that really stood out, especially to those of us, and Jeff's been in town for a really long time. I've been here 35 years. You know, it used to be that everything was about the school. Everything. It was the schools, the schools, the schools, most important things. And now maybe some of it, like people like me, my kids went through K through 12. They've been gone a long time. You know, schools are still important, but even with people that have kids in school, the great thing that people are really, it's the beauty, it's the small town charm. It's the recreational facilities, the hiking trails. It's not just the schools. I mean, I think we'd all say that schools are very important. Also interesting, one question, which actually was put in there more really for Sarah and for businesses, you know, how many people say they go out to, you know, a restaurant, you know, once a week, or, you know, every so, you know, that people really do visit the restaurants, and that's really important too. But I think the main takeaway was when we are looking at bringing people in, schools are important, of course, but, you know, the lifestyle that we have here, you know, people are more and more into lifestyle. So Jeff's going to give a summary of it, but that's kind of the big takeaway is, you know, and of course, more people like myself have been hiking and that sort of thing because you couldn't go anywhere for the pandemic, but I just don't think the canoeing and the hiking and, you know, all the facilities we have here, you know, people want, you know, a better way of life and a small time charm and everything. So it was, we had like an hour plus meeting, so we had a lot of things to talk about.
Just for the Spirit Council and some of the people that are watching, Main Street, the Simsbury Main Street Partnership, in partnership with the town of Simsbury, 13 years ago, we did a whole branding campaign for the town. And so now it's time to refresh and update. We have so many, as you could see from Mike and others, we have so many new developments and so many new things that have happened. So we're doing another branding refresh. We're reaching out, we'll be reaching out to your organization as well. But, you know, our goal is to reach out to the community like we did when we first did this branding campaign, and really tell the true kind of authentic story about Simsbury. And the other piece I'll mention, so we did that big survey. We had great respondents, great responses. But the other nice piece was that when you talk about affordable housing, that came up. And so visitors tend to think that we don't have affordable housing, but residents who've been here know that we actually do. And so we have to do a better job telling people that we actually have a very good amount of housing stock that's under 275, plus the rentals and plus other things. And that, you know, while we're always working to be a more affordable and inclusive community, that we also have to do a better job telling the story of what, you know, what it's like right now. So there's a lot of opportunities for your organization as well as all of the other groups. We're going to be working with the chamber and beautification, I mean, everybody, to make sure that we have a really comprehensive branding campaign like last time that people use for everything.
Anything else, Charmaine?
Like I said, we talked for an hour. I mean, Jeff's got a great, you know, a 21 question, I think 21 questions all summarized on an Excel file that, you know, people like looking at that kind of stuff. It's great. But, you know, the other thing is when we did meet with the businesses and everything, you know, that's what Sarah was saying about the affordable housing. So that's attracts all kinds of people to town and all kinds of businesses because, you know, not everyone or most people don't have money to buy a, you know, $500,000, $600,000, $700,000 home. Even people are thinking about building here, but I mean, or moving here. But we do have all this affordable houses, and we do have good schools, and we do have a great lifestyle. So Jeff's going to put together a summary, but it was a really well put together informational to help everybody, and you'll see the summary too.
Yep. And so the most important next date is going to be the Board of Selectmen meeting, which, Maria, is August 9th. Yep.
Yes. Yep. August 9th.
And so what I'm just trying to be very cautious of Jeff's time, because as a consultant, we only have him for a limited amount of time and a limited budget. So instead of having him do presentations to a whole bunch of people, what I'd like to have him do, because you guys have been active, engaged, and thank Charmaine and Brooke for working with me through the entire process, is I really want him to present the findings to the Board of Selectmen, because they ultimately are kind of footing the bill. So I encourage you and invite you to tune in and watch that, and then we'll release it after. But I just want to be cautious about his time, because he's already well under budget. I mean, like we're getting, thousands and thousands of dollars more than we should be paying for. So I'm just trying to be careful with him.
That's great. Thanks, Charmaine.
You're welcome.
Next on the agenda is business outreach. I'm not sure if there's anyone that can speak to that. Maybe Maria?
Yeah, I believe in the last few weeks we have not had any recent visits to report on.
Okay. So co-working spaces, supporting entrepreneurs. Peter, is Peter still on? Peter?
Just had to unmute myself. Actually, I'm kind of curious because we're looking at investing some money, but then we've taken it back, and I have to admit I'd have to defer. Hopefully, Maria can tell us the rationale for why it didn't go forward like we expected last time.
Yeah, no problem. So we, as you guys know, we've been working on developing the co-working website proposal in partnership with the Chamber, right? And we're all really excited about it. We're hoping that the source of revenue for this could potentially be the most recent round of stimulus funding that we've received from the federal government. But because we don't have what's referred to as qualified census tracts, we have to be able to really show very clear and direct outcomes in order to essentially show and demonstrate that this is helping part of the recovery process, including some of our property owners that have lost a lot of tenancies during this time. So especially office space. So we decided to take that draft proposal that we had submitted to you all at the meeting last month. And I know Morgan has been working on updating that a bit further, just to really sort of emphasize that piece of what we think would be a benefit of this project. So we're working through that just a bit more. So we're refining it and polishing it up. Also, there may be a slight cost increase. So we just, again, want to make sure that we're going to get our supplemental appropriation request correct and accurate. So again, we're really anxious to move forward, but as we were getting closer to the date, we realized we had just a few more, pieces we had to button up. But we are excited and hoping to get that back to the board soon. I don't know, Morgan, if you had anything you wanted to add to that.
No, I don't have anything to add to that. I just wanted to make sure that, every piece, as you said, was exactly as we want it, so that when it goes through, it's sort of this seamless, process, and we can really move full steam ahead. But I'm super excited. I think it's going to be a fantastic opportunity for not only our remote workers and local entrepreneurs, but the property owners that are looking to fill those spaces.
All right.
Cool.
Peter, have anything? I see your face on here.
No, I think that's we got the latest information.
Great, thanks. So we'll move on to stakeholder liaison updates. Main Street Partnership, Sarah?
So I'm going to be brief because I got to step off shortly. Main Street, along with the Storytellers Cottage, have partnered to do the Simsbury Story Hunts. So we're actually doing our test this weekend. We have 2 Board of Selectmen members that will be testing it out, along with a board member of mine and several other people. But basically, people can purchase tickets, And then you do clues. It's almost like a scavenger hunt. You pick up picnic stuff along the way, and your last destination is a spot to have and enjoy a nice picnic. So I've been, really enjoyed working with Storytellers Cottage on that, and it just creates some more excitement in the downtown and creates that destination. Stephen Antonio and I held a Hoskins Commercial District meeting for the North Village in June. I want to thank Tom Roy and Mike Glidden for attending. We were able to update all of the business owners on the $1.1 million streetscape improvements that will be coming shortly. We wanted to talk through questions. It just was a really productive meeting because there's some places where, again, we're going to have a contiguous sidewalk now from Antonio's all the way up to the commuter lot. And then, and it also connects Bill Ferrigno's property and all of the Mike, help me out, all of the other apartments to the bike path and to that district safely. It's a fantastic project.
Dorset Crossing.
Yeah, thank you. But also, no, I was thinking of like Eli Way and those too. I was the opposite end.
Yeah.
So, but we were able to talk to all of the property owners to keep them up to date because this is going to be a very large project, a very big project, very involved. We're all going through DOT. So that was a hugely successful meeting. And thanks to Tom Roy and Mike Glidden for joining me. For those of you that haven't heard, we worked with Anna's Kitchen Cafe since before she had signed the papers. She is making the move to West Simsbury. She's going to be taking over the Manny's Pizza old space. And so we're working with her currently on getting all that. She should actually be transitioned into the new space shortly after the July 4th weekend. So it's great that we were able to keep her in Simsbury where she's built her base. And I know that Peter and others are big fans, so we kept her. Rush Bowls opened this week. We are working with the business owner, not the property owner, the business owner on ribbon cutting. Clean Juice is opening. Again, there's been some delays with all of these brand new openings because of construction. We don't have enough construction crews going around. So a lot of these places we're going to open sooner, but Clean Juice is opening in the old Dunkin' Donuts space that's attached to the Antonio's restaurant. We're working with those owners. Jersey Mike's had to push their grand opening and ribbon cutting. We had hoped it would be in June. It's now slated for July 14th, as long as everything goes according to schedule. We've worked with them and their GMs out of New Jersey, but they're fantastic. They've actually chosen the ABC House in Simsbury as their first big donor. So they're going to be giving away free sub cards, but they're asking for, I think it's like a $3 or $5 donation, and all of the money collected is going to go to the ABC House. So we work with them. I just think that's a really fantastic. They have that philanthropic idea of doing that with every store that they open. So again, we're tentative for July 14th at this point. It may get pushed back, but I'm hoping not. As Mike mentioned, La Jolla Mexican, he was approved on Monday night. I'm working with Danny Stevens. We're also working with the property owners. He's slated to open the first week in September. They've got quite a bit of build out, quite a bit of stuff to do. Mike mentioned we've been working with Tractor Supply, Andy's Plaza, Nelson Construction, et cetera. So we've been very busy. But a lot of good stuff on the horizon.
Thanks, Sarah. Chamber of Commerce, Morgan.
Hi. Okay, so the chamber has been extremely busy. We had our second joint golf tournament with the Granby Chamber over at Hot Meadow Country Club on June 7th, and that went absolutely amazing. The weather was gorgeous. It was a little bit toasty though. It was about 95. So I was surprised we didn't find any golfers passed out on the course at any point. But all in all, weather aside, people had a wonderful time. And it was great to get together, our businesses with the Granby businesses. So it was a wonderful opportunity for the whole region of businesses to come together, golf for the day. And then after they came in from the course, we did have raffle prizes from a lot of our businesses in town. And we really take that opportunity to advertise the businesses. We do a nice write-up for whatever they're offering to the raffle. So they really get the opportunity to get some eyes on some products and services that they have. And then we also had the evening open to non-golfers or those that weren't able to take the whole day off. And that was our after hours for the month. So again, we had a lot of people from Granby, but most of all, our businesses from Simsbury came out. So it was exciting to have everyone together. The golf tournament really tends to be more of a social type event. So of course, people talk business, but a lot about business referrals is developing that deeper relationship with other local professionals. So you really do want that social aspect as well to kind of solidify the connection between those business people. We've had a lot of new members this past month, so it's really wonderful to see. People are not only bouncing back from last year, but what we're seeing a lot of is people that were laid off or weren't able to continue working at their previous jobs that maybe they have been in those careers for years. They took the opportunity to start a business of their own. So we're getting a lot of people working from home, working remotely, entrepreneurs in the area that are basically starting to live their dream. And it's really exciting to see that because they're not only new businesses that have creative ideas, but they're people that are so passionate about what they do. And they're looking to be engaged in the community. They're looking to connect with other people in the area. So it's a lot of fun. We're seeing a lot of people just hit the ground running and trying to collaborate with as many other members as possible, which kind of leads me to another priority of ours, and that's supporting member events. So we at the Chamber host a variety of events throughout the year, throughout the month, but we also promote our members to do the same. So we help them plan events. We have Leslie, who is our marketing director over at the Chamber. She's been promoted to a full-time position, which I'm so thankful for because I really needed the help in the office, and she's fantastic. So she has more hours now to help our members come up with marketing material. She helps them put together all sorts of pieces to promote events, to promote their product services. She'll even help them with websites if it's, not an extreme makeover or anything like that, but she'll give them helpful criticism. So we have been helping our members put together a lot of these events and then spreading the word, because these events, the whole intent is to increase visibility. And that's really what our members are needing right now. It's wonderful that they've launched these new businesses, that they've joined the Chamber, but now they need people to be aware of what they do and to make those connections. So we've really been pushing that. We've been very active on social media. The website's getting hits constantly, which is wonderful to see. Our calendar especially has just been a huge resource in the area. We've been tracking the analytics from that, and it's fantastic to see. So we always encourage all of our members to post everything they have going on right on the calendar. And we also include them in the Chamber Chatter, which goes out on Tuesday. Let's see. So we've been really pushing ahead with our in-person networking. Of course, the golf tournament was one of those occasions, but we also have our first in-person networking meeting tomorrow morning. So we've been having our Good Morning Simsbury twice a month virtually, and we are so sick of Zoom. So we're finally shifting that back to in-person, and people have just been chomping at the bit for the experience to get together for that morning networking. So we will be doing it virtually for the second Thursday morning of every month and in person for the fourth Thursday morning of every month. So tomorrow we'll be over at the Simsbury Inn and at the restaurant there on the second floor. So we're very excited that they're hosting us. And all of that information can always be found on the website. We already briefly discussed the co-working website and that whole partnership. Very excited about it. I think it's going to be a fantastic project and opportunity for us to collaborate with Simsbury Main Street, with the Simsbury Public Library Business and Career Center, and of course the town. But we are going to, fine tune that a little bit more, and then we'll get it out into the regular process. Our Government Affairs Committee has been relaunched very successfully. So David Richmond is chairing that committee, and we have a lineup of speakers that will be presenting every month. So that is the third Tuesday morning of every month, and the committee meets from 9 to 9:20. So that portion of the meeting is only open to those committee members. And then at 9:20, we open the meeting up to the general public. And that's when the scheduled speaker takes over the meeting and goes through the presentation that they've planned. So July 20th is our next meeting, and David Ryan, who's the chair of the Zoning Commission, will be speaking. Last month, we had Stephen Antonio from the Design Review Board, and that was a fascinating conversation. So we thought it would be a nice progression to go from that to now the Zoning Commission, so people can really get a nice feel of that aspect of the town government and how things move ahead that way. For those that aren't able to make these Zoom meetings, we do record them and post them on the website. So they're all available there. And we have gotten a lot of requests to, send people links, things like that. People are very interested in the conversations and education that we're having in those meetings. Let's see, July 22nd, we have a joint after hours with popovers and wine, etc., in the town shop. So that's going to be a really, really great one. For those familiar with either or both businesses, they're just fantastic. They're wonderful members of the community, women-owned businesses, and we're just so excited to have our chamber community come out and celebrate, how well they're doing, and hopefully make some new connections that way. So that will be probably 5 to 7. I just have to confirm the time, and we'll have plenty of information out on that soon. And then Mike Glidden had also talked briefly about the Soma Grill patio renovation or expansion. So we've been talking with Chris and Carlos over there, they'd love to do a ribbon cutting soon. So they're just kind of getting their landscaping done. And once that's finished and it's as beautiful as they're looking to have it, then we'll invite everyone out for a ribbon cutting over there. They've connected with one of our other members, and they've had some live entertainment out in the patio recently. So hopefully we can get some live entertainment for that event as well. So that I'm sure that would be probably mid to late July. I'll have to touch base with them again and see how they're doing. Our members, and I know Sarah can speak on this because we've discussed this, a lot of the businesses are still struggling for employees. So, Sarah and I have bounced a few ideas around and, whether to host a job fair or, what would be most helpful for the businesses. Right now, I'm pretty sure she has a very active Facebook page going on where people are posting openings. And on our website, we're doing the same. So we have a job posting section of our menu where all of our members are able to log into their accounts and post any sort of job opening they have. And they've been finding that extremely useful. So we're just going to continue to help promote the openings available in the area. I think as we get closer to September, people are going to really be, buckling down and realizing they have to get back to work if they're not doing so already. So hopefully we'll be able to use that resource to get our businesses fully staffed. And lastly, the visitor center has been bustling, which is very exciting. So obviously with the warmer weather, people are out and about, they're visiting Simsbury. And with all of the new members we have, a lot of them have relocated from other states to Simsbury. So we're not only having visitors come to the area, it's the new residents that are stopping into the visitor center, which is also the chamber office, and just looking for information on what to do. So they're loving, as Charmaine mentioned, the parks, all of the forms of rec we have in the area. And they just want to see all of the sites and really experience, all that Simsbury has to offer. So it's been great because we are sort of serving as that first welcome to the area for a lot of these people, referring, realtors, bankers if needed, all of that, but then also giving them suggestions on how to spend their time in Simsbury with their family and friends. So it's been really exciting to meet these people and to help promote our members and tell these people where to go to eat, where to shop for gifts, all of that good stuff. So it's been great to see. And I think that's all we've got over at the chamber.
Thanks, Morgan. I think we only have about 5 minutes left. I think we have to be off by 6:40. Maria, you wanted to talk a little bit about the federal recovery funds?
Yeah, thanks. I thought under liaison updates, I would just share a little bit about the federal recovery funds, because I think there are a lot of misperceptions kind of circulating in terms of permissible uses, and particularly around economic development and infrastructure. I had initially had some pretty high hopes for infrastructure. I know that this group knows sort of my philosophy that good infrastructure equals good economic development, and that, if the bones of our community, our roads, our sidewalks, our utilities, our parks, if that is all in very good condition, right, that helps create a supportive environment for businesses who want to maybe come and locate here, or who already exist and are already located here. Unfortunately, the way that the infrastructure portion of the federal recovery funds were shaped is that we can only spend those infrastructure funds on water system improvements, and we do not have a public water utility here in Simsbury that the town owns. Certain sewer improvements, which were somewhat limited, and broadband. And unfortunately, in Connecticut, PURA, which is the regulatory authority over our utilities, does not permit municipalities to own and operate our own broadband systems. So that particular piece of the bill for me was, really just so disheartening, because again, I think good infrastructure, right, helps good economic development. That being said, in terms of economic development, again, because we do not have qualified census tracts within our community, there has to be a very, very demonstrated correlation between how the actions we are planning to take and use those funds on are specifically essentially fulfilling a certain need and business recovery. There are some uses around tourism and the arts. But again, unfortunately, there's just a lot of restrictions there. We are hearing the same thing from many of our counterparts in small and medium-sized communities throughout the state. And we, through CCM, our municipal organization, they are going to be providing feedback to the federal government around some of these types of concerns that the smaller and medium-sized communities do have. And I believe, so right now, technically it's interim guidance that the federal government has issued. They are taking feedback through a date in July. I just can't recall the date off the top of my head. So perhaps in the fall, we may see some revised guidance. As of right now, this is the guidance that we have to work with. And the federal funds, we can use them through 2026, but they do have to be committed no later than 2024. So that's kind of what we're working with. It is a rather substantial, amount of money because we received our municipal allocation, but then because Connecticut doesn't have traditional county governments, we received our proportional share of the county allocation. So in totality, we are expecting, not including the schools allotment, about $7 million. So I mean, again, it's very substantial. That could be an incredible investment in our community, but we just need the federal guidance to be the different for us to use it effectively. So I think more to come, but thought I would share this with this group because I know we've been getting a lot of asks from people like, well, why couldn't we do such and such, or why can't we do such and such with the dollars? And again, right now we're just doing our best with what's being allowed under the guidance.
Thanks, Maria. I think we're running out of time here. Apologies to zoning, design review, sustainability, and other issues. We'll get those next time. Approval of the minutes for May 26, 2021. Motion to approve. Anybody?
Motion made.
Seconded?
Second.
All those in favor?